Happy Thursday, Leap Day, and welcome to today's special episode of Tech Bites. I am Rick Vanover, the Rickatron, and I'm joined by one of our technologists on the product strategy team, Karinne. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent. It's a sunny day in Ohio, which is one of a very rare occasion, so I'm super excited for today's release.
Yeah, so we have a special topic here today, and we were really cagey with the title and the news because it was related to a press release and some news and a big milestone here today. You know, Leap Day only happens once every fourth year, so we thought we'd do something special. So today we're going to talk about Veeam Data Cloud, and so Corinne, as a definition, right? This is big news. It's on the main Veeam homepage. What's your take of what is Veeam Data Cloud?
Veeam Data Cloud, I think, is the next evolution in Veeam's intro into the marketplaces and how you can consume our product in ways that make sense to you and your business.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. In fact, Corinne, you and I, in our role on the product strategy team, we talk with customers, partners, analysts, and we've had over the years a number of different ways to consume Veeam. One is you could, subscribe to the Microsoft 365 backup product and install it and size and provision your own backup infrastructure. Same for Microsoft Azure with Veeam Backup from Microsoft Azure, as well as the plugins. But we've also had this massive network of service providers using Microsoft 365 for protection. Tell me about that consumption model that's happened over the years.
So, our service providers, I think without a doubt, we would not be anywhere near where we are today if we didn't have our service providers out there, not only providing our platform, but so many extra services on top of that, from professional services to DR planning to everything that you need as an everything IT company in many cases.
Indeed. In fact, I'd go so far to say that, the service providers have indeed helped us consume additional ways to protect Microsoft 365, Azure, and other services as well. But today's news is about yet another way to consume a Veeam powered offering, and it is Veeam Data Cloud. And so we got a few slides we're going to show you here. Nice touch there, Mark, on the transition. I didn't even have to give you a heads up. Veeam Data Cloud is the news of today, and this is backup as a service or software as a service. BAS for SaaS, but the individual services we protect are consumed for Veeam customers as a service. So Veeam is offering the backup as a service, and got a good question right away from Shai. Asks which version, and I'll throw that one over to you, Corinne. I think I know the answer, but if we're talking about backup as a service from Microsoft 365, it is actually using the existing Veeam product as well, the current V7. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct, and it will continue to absorb the new features as we come into the new products, which we'll have more details on here in a couple of months.
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot of plans for this technology, make no mistake. But the offering of where it is today and what we're announcing really starts with this, simplistic approach. And I like to joke, Corinne, that Veeam Backup for Microsoft 365 as well as Azure is already a relatively easy to use product. Everything gets complicated in different environments, but this is making it even easier. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. And whenever you're talking about a security mindset, no product that you install across the entire market is ever going to be installed with the most secure settings. It's actually the simplest settings to get from installation to use. So in many cases, you have to go through on your own, figure out what all of the best practices, the securities are. And when we offer it as a service, we've actually taken care of all of that configuration on the back end for you, making a simple product even easier to use.
Yeah, and let me give a very specific example here, Corinne. And Corinne is a super smart, super technical person on my team. but she's very polite whenever I get details wrong. And let me just say, friends, it's often. So I'm always like saying, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't need to tell her that. She will. But I think this one's right. One of the things about deploying Microsoft 365 backups. So if I today or yesterday bought Veeam Backup for Microsoft 365 and I maybe stood up some instances in Azure or even AWS to protect it, and then I had proxies and I have repositories and stuff, there are sizing exercises that you should do as that kind of consumer of that software. One of the things that I think is a really overlooked thing here is that most of our customers, they don't have that type of cloud sizing skill to really get the best value out of their, cloud infrastructure to protect Microsoft 365. Whereas Veeam Data Cloud, in my opinion, Karinne, this is a team that has really built an advanced sizing that just takes all that complexity away.
Correct. And we're looking at the industry term FinOps really here. So we financially optimize the back end, the infrastructure, the components to size to any environment for customers coming in. That way we can offer that single price. And not to get into licensing because licensing is not my forte, but we do offer that singular price and take care of that back end for those customers, make it even easier to make that next step to protecting data where you don't have to have all that planning process in between.
And I think it's fair to say, Corinne, that a lot of customers who want to protect Microsoft 365, it's kind of weird to say that there's this way to use Veeam that's pretty easy, and then this way to use Veeam that's even easier. It reminds me a lot of when we had the agents come into play because some virtual machines might have been trickier in the infrastructure, or maybe the Veeam agent was a better way to protect it. It's the best analogy I can come up with, but Veeam Data Cloud really hits on something you said right there that let me pull out the laser beams here. Everything is included. And I think there's just an appetite, whether it's FinOps, whether it's just overloaded work, that really everyone wants things to be just sorted out, taken care of, and not have to worry about it. There's a huge kind of comfort play in having everything included and set up for you, managed as a service. I think there's a lot of appetite in the market for that.
Absolutely. We have everything from security to infrastructure to professional services as a service in organizations so that they can financially plan for projects more succinctly. And they have experts that come in and do the projects in a timely manner that may not be orchestrated on your on premises or your internal environment as succinctly.
Yeah, fair shout. And one thing I'll say is that we've had the opportunity since the corporate investment in October of last year that led us to this milestone. We've had the opportunity to kind of really be involved with some of the individual, project managers, the architects and the dev team. Shout out Martin, um, instrumental in helping this stuff happen. And it's really interesting to watch the Veeam touch. And that's a word, a phrase that I've made up. Internally, there's been incredible interest from our customers, from our partners. We talk to analysts a lot. They have interest here, and we're scaling this offering. And that's really kind of the milestone here, because from the corporate investment in October to now, we have trained our people. We have trained our partners. We have integrated our sales systems, all kinds of things that have just prepared us business wise to get to that. And I think this is a really good start, the Microsoft 365 offering, but Veeam Data Cloud. But wait, there's more. And what's the other service that is offered currently, Corinne?
So we now have the Microsoft Azure as a service as well. And as Rick pointed out, this is already a very simple product to be able to set up and start protecting your environments. I can actually tail back to a time when we were in an analyst meeting, and I was able within that meeting to spin up an Azure backup environment, show off all of the features, including the pricing calculators and everything involved with that in that meeting. But now it's even easier where all you do is set up an authentication token, define the machines, and we take care of the allocation of resources, processes, workers, everything on the back end is taken care for you with the best security settings and limited permissions so you can give those out to the people that need to be able to restore that data.
Yeah, and maybe I'm being the grumpy old man on the call here, but my favorite part of this slide, Corinne, is that we have brought this back. It just works. I am happy, right? As the curator of the Veeam Museum here in my office, I think It Just Works is up there no shorter than 10 or 12 times. So I'm super happy. Yeah, there it is. Thank you for the pan. But we have It Just Works and all the history here. In fact, I even have new stuff. I have old stuff. I have something here before I even started, just having this history and bringing these phrases back near and dear to my heart. But let's get back to the business of protecting Microsoft Azure. Now, I'm going to throw you a question as well, Corinne. Protecting Microsoft Azure with Veeam Data Cloud, kind of playing on Shai's question, still built on the Veeam backup products that everyone else can consume in those other two ways.
Still built on the Veeam backup products and our internal development team, which has been absolutely, I would say, slaving away to make sure that this release came out on time and optimized for the end users. This portal literally changed overnight to being a Veeam succinct product where we're able to set up backup managers, give your jobs a go. I have my new portal already up and running, and it was that simple.
It is the quick ROI, time to market. And one other thing, for those of you watching this stream, we've got a great crowd, by the way. One thing I'll say, if I look at Q4, the last quarter of the year after the corporate investment, I heard of scenarios from Veeam did what to customer had their stuff protected in around 2 weeks. So if you're watching this and you're like, I don't know if I'm compliant with my Microsoft 365 or have the right protection in my Microsoft Azure footprint, talk to someone at Veeam. We can very quickly ramp you up to get that protection level you need. And to your point, Corinne, you mentioned that were moving very fast. Let's take a look at that just now, and let's start with a switch over to the demo. One thing I'll highlight is if you go to veeam.com, we have a lot of information. This is all new, just launched this morning, that talks about resilient data protection made simple. And I think this is a good way, Corinne, to kind of take a look of an overview of really the outcomes of backup as a service with Veeam.
Absolutely. And I think it would be a miss if we didn't point out the secret third protection that we now have, which is our monitoring that we've added in. This is monitoring that's not even available for your on-premises environment. It's not available on our VM1 products, but it actually monitors your cloud infrastructure and the components that you have available today and what is and is not protected within those components. So you have complete visibility with this product.
Yep, that's a good segue. So let's jump into the user interface. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. And that monitoring that you're talking about, and by the way, if you've dabbled with or seen a previous demo, this is new as of today, Veeam Data Cloud. This is real. Now, I'm going to just show you the Microsoft 365 side of it. But that monitoring, Corinne, which one of these tiles do you want to start with first? Maybe give me an overview on.
So I really like this Microsoft license and activity. And we get a lot of questions of how many users do I really need to protect? Do I need to remove some license from my infrastructure? How can I save costs? Cost savings is the number one topic I think we'll have this year. And this right here, you can go in and see you have 18 licenses that have not been logged into in a period of time. Maybe those are accounts that you no longer have to pay for. And that's a powerful message.
It is, and this is probably one area where the product is different than the other established consumption models of I'm going to download and install Microsoft 365 or through a service provider. Now, make no mistake, a lot of service providers are doing a lot of innovative things as well. How about this storage? This is kind of an interesting view. Who is the nasty list on storage? I can see which accounts have the most data. Is that what that's telling me?
That is exactly what that's telling you, as well as your entire infrastructure data. We get this on a daily basis. Why is it going up? Can we see which SharePoint sites we actually need to tailor? And it ends up being a lot of different portals inside the Microsoft 365 environment brought to a single coffee window. Coffee window is my favorite term when looking at things like this because you're sipping your coffee, getting all the insight you need with
Hmm.
a visual basis.
Right. And then you have the ability to respond to a change relatively quickly because if somebody moves my coffee, my cream, or my sugar, I'm going to notice. If somebody jumps on the leaderboard from day to day, you're going to notice. And Karinne is just like, Rick, these one-liners you come up with, I just don't know. And what's really important, we mentioned this earlier to Shai's question. And if you have a question, drop it in the chat. As I understand it, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. We're live on 4 streams. And Felicia, big shout from joining us from the UK to proxy these. If there's a question you want, Karinne and I can probably field it. We'll do our best. But much like the existing product, the capabilities here, Karinne, they protect all 4 of these critical services.
Correct, as well as Azure, which we'll
That's true.
have more demos on for you guys later. We actually even have our entire setup for Walnut, which we can see from our website, which will walk you through how to configure your admin roles, which you can do specific admin roles just for Outlook, viewing messages, restoring messages, or that granular control that you really need whenever you're having multiple hands in the cookie jar. Do you
Indeed.
like that one?
I,
Cookie
I
jar?
like I like hands in the cookie jar because like I never just go in with like a finger or a chopstick. I'm going in all in, so I love it. All right, so Corinne, you've heard a lot of my one-liners all of the time. You know what I say?
Rickisms.
The Rickisms, the Rictionary, right? So this is the backup job that's been happening for this organization, but I like to say backup for show, restore for dough. All right, so I'm going to go destroy some data here and do a quick recovery. I'm going to do OneDrive. Now, what's happening right here is this organization, this is a test environment. So a couple of different friends of the Veeam inside of here, and then all the way down is this Rick guy. I've got some of my OneDrive stuff shown here. I'm just going to give you a scenario. I'm going to go over here. Here is my identity in here. Let's go into my files, my OneDrive. And I'm going to take this taxi receipt from my latest trip to Seattle, and I'm going to just delete it. And let's just assume I lost it. Actually, how do you delete a file? How do you do that? Anyways, let's just assume that I can delete it. Maybe it's over here. Let's delete it. Okay, so I need that receipt from a long time ago. I've been audited by my expense report team. Let's take that scenario. Now, how do I empty a recycle bin, Ren? I know you're good at this. Do you just go over here and say empty?
If it's there, then yes. Some
Okay.
things, depending on where they're deleted, will not show up in this side on the recycling bin, but you may do a quick refresh since you did actually
Yeah.
release that.
I'm gonna just put. I'm just gonna see if I can find this file again. I want to make sure I don't have my file. I still have it here. Let's make sure it's gone, gone, gone. Delete. I hit cancel. That's why it didn't delete. That's a different problem. That's me. I'm doing it in the web page just a little bit easier for everybody. Here we go. This is what we're talking about. Now I'm
If
going to
you
get it.
want to be thorough, you can hit that second stage recycling bin and you want to hit the white button, not the blue button.
Oh, where's the second stage recycle or all
That link right
archivage?
there at the bottom of your screen.
Oh, okay. Look at that. See, you look. I didn't
Fancy.
even know that. I didn't even know that was there. So I'm just trying to really, really, really delete this content. So this file now it's pretty gone. Do you think so, Corinne? Do you think it's gone?
I think it's pretty gone.
Well, I've already restored it before, so I just want to pretend that this one isn't there. This time I did practice. I'm going to delete that too. All right, and then let's go to that second stage recycle bin. By the way, did everybody know about that?
You
Thanks for the.
actually have to delete it, then go to the second stage. Second stage is
Okay.
actually not available for everyone, but anyone that has any elevated permissions on SharePoint is going to have access to that second stage recycling bin. Otherwise, you got to have a conversation with your admin and have them restore the data for you.
That's a
from
good
here.
point.
And
But
it's only there for about 90 days.
okay, but we all agree that the recycle bin is not a backup. That is true. All right. Now let's try again. Do I have my taxi receipt from Seattle? I have it from restored. I've made, how many times did I restore this? I'm trying to make sure it's all the way gone. I want to destroy this data.
We can restore with another name. I'm sure people
I'm
will.
make possibly just making sure it's gone, making sure it's gone. Okay. But at least this file should be, this is what I'm wanting to see. I don't have this file. Okay. It's gone. No bacon. All right. Backup for show, restore for dough. So I'm going to find my Taxi Seattle file from October because of my deep audit with the expense team. And let's see what we've got here. There it is. Now, what I did, search for it by name, selected it, and then what I'm going to do is restore it. So this is very easy to do and identify this file from OneDrive. And then I have these three items. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Karinne, this is really just the Veeam Data Cloud is this API web experience front, again, of the same capabilities for a recovery with Veeam Backup from Microsoft 365. The Explorer could do this too. Is that right?
Correct.
Well, you don't even have like any like small detail to say. I actually got that right. Is that what you're saying? That's a first. All right, let's put it back in the original location. And what I like about Veeam Data Cloud is this little widget notification bell, this thinger. You can get really good view of that activity here. Okay. So these files, like this type of recovery, should be relatively quick. So I'm going to go back over here to my files and I'm going to look, see if it already came back in. And not yet, but it is being recovered for me
So,
directly.
since we have a moment, we can actually take a look at my favorite feature here if you want to close out of this small
Mm-hmm.
notification window.
Okay.
And over in your settings,
Mm-hmm.
we have the granularity to be able to see and add and remove users. See, you have unelevated role permissions, but we can granularly assign permissions to be able to restore backups, OneDrives, manage things, and
Ooh.
under system settings, which it looks like you may not have access to do.
Yeah,
So we'll bypass
I
that one
wouldn't
for
trust me
now.
with any like real roles in here, but yeah, but it's really easy to use from that perspective. I mean, the onboarding is pretty quick. I could look at some of these other, not this is a by the way, this is kind of a special instance that we use internally. But if I go back over to my files here, let's go back to my files, and I should have a file called taxi, see in a PDF. Will I be able to complete my deep audit with expense team? Survey says yes. I have my receipt from the taxi driver and I will get my reimbursement and I am happy. So closing the loop on that. And I have this visibility, but right, this is a pretty important thing you brought here. You've got your notifications, which tells you the activity, both you or others on the account, settings, support, and a profile. So this part is actually rather powerful as well. That's pretty cool. I can log a ticket directly or get into the knowledge base. And then if I look at my preferences, I can, customize it. This is probably a good idea. Go ahead and do that. But basically, I think that this is pretty powerful, and you get a good sense here of the different capabilities. A couple questions came in, by the way, here. Kirsty Kirsten, the Kirstness, has asks, are there audit logs that see who's done what? That's a good question. I think, Kirsten, that, yeah.
Absolutely.
How
So
about
you
him?
have your recent activity, which will show you all of the restore processes. Depending on your permissions, you'll be able to see the restore processes from everyone, as well as download any logs from any warnings or failed jobs. Sometimes when you've deleted a OneDrive and a user account in your organization to meet compliance, we'll let you know that's no longer processing in the backup, and you might get a warning that this user is no longer being processed. So you'll
Hmm.
get some good insights into your jobs and
Yeah, right.
restores.
And I think, Kirsten, it would start here. And if you look up here, you can get a good view of that activity as well. Scrolling down, you'll see that. So that's a good one. And William, nice to see you here as well. Jonathan, congratulations. Welcome back. Good stuff. All right. So we've got a couple more minutes. Karinne, anything else you want to highlight on Veeam Data Cloud within the product, within the user interface?
Yeah, it's really easy to set up. I posted with our video team the Walnut interactive demo environment so that anyone can go in, see the backups, the restores, creating jobs, just starting out to begin with what that looks like without making any commitment to the product. We
Where
also have,
Where are those, by the way? Are those on? I wonder if Edward had a link to that. And by the way, we have his blog. Was that link that he put here, or is that still on the Walnut demos that we know with the little picture of Martin floating around?
that's an absolutely fantastic question.
Tell you what, they're out there. They are out there. We're in the middle of re-swizzling the web page as we talk here. Like literally this morning, a lot of this didn't exist, and that's a here, for example, some of these views you can see nice stuff here. Good post, Edward. But basically, here it is. It's on the blog. You can do it right now, so it's new. So on Edward's blog, this is what we're talking about. Is that right?
Correct. And that looks like a video of the Walnut interactive demo for
No,
us.
it's a clickable. It's real.
Oh,
I'm clicking it and
that's
it's
neat.
moving. It's new. Yeah, see, so many new things here today at Veeam. Good stuff, Edward. Thank you for getting this up here today. All right. Well, hey, that is really about it. The news is Veeam Data Cloud. And if you're just getting started, you can go to veeam.com. You can check out information there. Edward had that nice post on the veeam.com blog. Skimming through the chats here, a couple of the friends and such of Veeam. Thank you all for joining around the world, even some people pretty far away on today. Karinne, anything else you'd like to add?
No, if you have any questions, definitely reach out before going through the onboarding process, especially if you have more than, say, like 400 users, to make sure you understand how to either back up your entire organization or if you want specific users protected in those types of scenarios. The backup support team is actually fantastic to work with and very smart people, and that's coming from me.
Ouch, but true. And the thought here is that, yeah, that sizing is important. There's those numbers of below or under. We just want to make sure the sizing is right. I can tell you that internally on the back end, there's been an incredible scale exercise to prepare for this milestone. And we're super excited all across Veeam to bring this to you. So bringing it home on behalf of our producers, both of them traveling this week. So it is hard to do these shows on the road. Big thank you to Felicia and to Mark. And thank you, Karinne, for joining me and everyone else at Veeam to bring this news to you. Next week, we have the Veeam 100 show. We've got a unbreakable fabric from two of our best Veeam 100 members, DDA and Nico. That'll be moderated by Edwin Vitema on the product strategy team. Check that out on Thursday. The Tuesday show, Industry Insights, episode 167, special segment with Kyndryl and Veeam. It's all about news, interesting news stuff this week at Veeam. So awesome. Thank you, everyone, for watching. That concludes our stream.
Hey.